The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Hi, this is Ken Gage, and this is The Art of Politics. It's the only show of its type here in the state of New Hampshire, as far as we know. What that means, quite simply, is this. I am a Democrat, and I always have a Republican sitting across from me. And my co-host is Al Baldessaro. How you doing, Al?
Yeah, doing great, Ken. It's an honor. And you know, coming here to fight the traffic from Londonderry, but nothing I can't handle.
Yeah, well,
you know,
now you ended up with me.
Yeah, so. You ain't kidding. But I'm happy to be in a state or a town there that has deep pockets and don't mind us Republicans with, you know, small pockets coming in. And
excuse me, you're driving an Escalade and I'm driving a Honda Element that's 9 years old. Who's rich?
Well, that's one of the older Escalades, and because I didn't vote for the gas tax, I can afford it. But now that you guys put in that gas tax, I might have to sell it.
Oh, yeah, well.
You know? It's either that or, you know, a loaf of bread, gas. Tough decisions that we have to make.
Yeah, right. Really tough decisions. Well, actually, as this show starts right here this moment, and they're not going to see this show, I think it'll probably be starting on Monday, okay? But we're taping this earlier. But right at this very, very moment, I believe it is closed and there are places you no longer can put your name in. I could be wrong, or is it 5 o'clock?
Most town offices close at 5.
All right, okay.
But the ones that close at 4:30, I'm sure there are some.
Yeah, so that means that if you're not, have your name in for state representative or Senate, or, you know.
Or Republican delegate.
Yes, correct.
Right.
Correct. So, and you have, you're going to have a runoff or a primary?
Right now there are eight people running for 7 seats. And then, of course, that's not counting the Democrats that were signing up also.
So you have 7 seats?
We have 7 seats in my district.
Oh, my God, we have 3 for 6 people.
Yeah, but, you know, you have 3, what, for like 15 people in your district?
No,
yeah, something like that.
No, no.
Do you have that many Democrats in Nashua?
Yes, we do. And you can tell we're all good. As a matter of fact, the majority of our state representatives are Democrats, and I have a feeling they're going to stay there, and I have a feeling the Republicans have just stepped on their tongues. Cantor, your great second in command in the House of Representatives, he got trashed.
I was glad to see that.
$5 million he spent, and the other person spent $125,000 and beat him.
Who the other person was? Can we say that word?
Yeah, sure.
He was a Tea Partier, the one that wants government out of your pockets, out of your house, a little smaller government. He wants people standing up on their own. You know,
in Cantor,
imagine people wanting that.
Well, the interesting part of what you're saying is one of the reasons why they got rid of Cantor was
immigration.
No, one of the reasons why is he voted to reopen the government to raise the debt ceiling. So What's happening is the Republicans, they'll close the government down again, and they will not reopen the government. So this is what people are voting for. Let's close the government. And last time it cost, I think, was $50 billion, which is $1 billion a state.
I think those numbers that they threw out is a bunch of BS. Okay, another thing there too, we have almost $18 trillion debt. Don't you think it's enough time, like a communist country? Eventually you run out of other people's...
communist country.
Eventually you run out of other people's money.
Don't you realize it? Absolutely. And you guys
the government is the people.
Keep saying that, but it's quite interesting how more jobs are being put in, more people are working.
Where are more jobs being put in?
Yes.
Government jobs?
No, absolutely. Why is it every time a Republican says we want small government, and Reagan is the best example, it turned out to be one of the largest governments that ever had taken place with Reagan.
I disagree with that. You have to show me the facts on that one. But
it's amazing. Well, you're a Republican.
I'm
you
a
tell
Republican.
me I'm wrong.
I want smaller government. My first term, I was in the minority for 4 years, and I counted job after job after job. 67 jobs the Democrats put in my first term.
Really?
That I didn't.
67
But that's government
jobs.
positions.
Wait a minute. 67 jobs, all right, in an entire government. That doesn't sound like they're blowing the government up.
For a state of New Hampshire that don't have a sales tax or a payroll tax, when we believe in personal reliability, accountability.
67 jobs
why
in
are
4
we
years.
growing our government?
I don't think that's a lot.
Don't you think we should be growing more artists, more engineers, more computer gurus, more secretaries, construction workers?
I thought,
why government?
I thought you wouldn't lead me right into this so early, but
let's go get it. Let's take the gloves off.
And in the Senate, they tried to get a bill passed to put up to let the people who have debt from college to refinance their debt. And guess what the Republicans did? They voted it down. So they needed 60 votes. They couldn't get 60 votes. They got all the Democrats and they got a few Republicans. So the Republicans, and it's interesting, Republicans do go to college. Republicans do have debt.
You got talking papers here?
Why in the world
is this Republican, Democrat talking papers
would
you're
the
using?
Republicans not let Republicans and Democrats refinance so they could have just a little bit more money, but they'd still pay the loan off? You could refinance a house, you could refinance a car. But the people out there who have,
are you sure that's not
debt?
a feel-good piece of legislation that somebody put in during an election year? Because we talked about this, and then I went and looked back. About 3-4 years ago, I refinanced my son's education loan. It was at 7.5, and then I brought it down to a $15,000 loan. I refinanced that. Then now the other loans that I got for my kids there that are in my name, Parent Plus loan, that I don't see why I can't refinance them. I've never heard that I couldn't.
Well,
you sure this isn't feel good stuff?
No. You can't refinance them because there must be a law made for it. And guess what? It was the Republicans who voted against it. And the simple fact is that even Republican politicians, like you're saying, well, I don't know about that. Well, the truth is...
It's not that I don't know about that. I'm willing to bet, and I think I left it on my computer, that in the bill there, it was not a clean bill. There was other stuff in the bill that they try to suck you into voting for. Not like New Hampshire. New Hampshire has a bill until we get the crossover, then they stick all this other stuff on.
I know.
Okay, normally it's a clean bill.
Yep.
Now, there are other spending items in the bill that Republicans...
I don't believe that's true.
You don't believe it?
But you don't know.
Are you sure?
And I'm not. Well, let's put it this way. The Republicans certainly would have come out and said that, and I haven't heard
that's what I heard.
the truth.
I heard that that's the reason why, because of the pork.
The Republicans would have defended themselves, but that
We'll have to look that up. Maybe we can do a fact check, because I don't know, but I heard too.
That is awful.
I don't think it was awful.
How in the world can you guys, especially Republicans, go out and ask the voters to vote for you, and you don't even let their kids refinance?
I think there's more that meets the eye. I'd be shocked because many of us Republicans have kids. I got almost $100,000 in college loans for my 2 kids. Okay, so I'm one there. I doubt very seriously that Republicans would vote against that unless the Democrats did their normal spending and dumped it in with amendments.
Well, when you
in the
hear
bill.
that
So we
one of
don't
the
know for sure.
yeah,
so.
when you hear that one of the reasons why they got rid of Cantor was because he voted to open the government, reopen
That's
the
not
government.
everything I read. That's
and
what
you
they
know,
attacked him
so
on.
what they're saying is if you vote for the person who beat Cantor, if you
Right.
vote for him, that means they will close the government down, and they will not open it again.
I'm gonna
and
look
the
right in
last
that
time was $1
camera.
billion. All right, 50 billion lost in revenues. Each state got $1 billion. Each state lost $1 billion. How many times? How many? How many times can Republicans keep doing that?
Where do you come up with these numbers? You're unbelievable. Hey, he's unbelievable when he comes up with this stuff. You know what? I
Well,
want people.
I don't see you.
Do you realize, I want anyone to do a Google search right now that's when they watch this show. And I want you to do a check on Cantor and look and see what the attacks were. The attacks were on amnesty, immigration. The people of our country do not want
They don't want
amnesty.
an immigration
Cantor was leading
bill.
the charge on amnesty.
They don't want an immigration bill. Let me see.
Did you think I wasn't going to do my homework on this issue?
No, you don't want an immigration bill?
No, I don't want amnesty. No.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought one of the reasons why people thought it was pretty good is because the people who are here now, settled and working, and have had kids, children here, it was going to cost them an enormous amount of money just to stay here in the United States. And if they had one conviction, you know, one felon, especially a felony, not a speeding ticket, but one felony, they were out. And then they had to repay the taxes, and they had to do all this stuff. In fact, if I was a Mexican individual, and let's face it, they're Spanish, and most of them are Mexican. I shouldn't say that, but there's a lot of Mexican. I think I'd go back over the border, and I would apply to come into this country. It would be cheaper.
You know something? I feel bad for the kids, but the bottom line is your parents broke into our country. You broke into our home. You broke the laws. It's time to go back. Matter of fact, you want to know the benefit
11 million
Do you want to
people.
know the benefit to Mexico?
11
that
billion.
11 million people, how many would maybe educated? Maybe 4 million of kids? You would make Mexico, you would turn them in from a third world country into maybe an economic boom, because now you're bringing educated kids back home.
You make it sound so good,
But the truth's the facts, it's
but
facts.
if you note, recently what is taking place is that mothers are bringing their children and the husbands are staying behind because they believe that the United
So were they on
States
welfare?
will keep children.
Were they on welfare, the mothers coming in here? But look at the Marine. Tell you what, when Mexico turns around and anyone that goes into their country illegally, okay, and they don't put them in their jail and lock them up again in their racks and their beds and have them on cement floors there like that Marine 2 tours in Iraq that's sitting in jail waiting because he made a wrong turn in Texas, I think it was, and end up in Mexico in one of the side gates that they have. You know, the border gates there.
Why is he still there?
He's still there because the Mexicans there won't let him go because he had all his gear from the Marine Corps, his uniform,
And
everything
guns.
in the back, his guns in his truck.
Oh.
So, and he even told him when he went to the gate, I made a mistake. I turned in. I need to turn around. I have guns in I have other stuff in here. And they would, no, pull over here, pull over here. Okay?
Well, that's wrong.
So
That's
when
wrong.
when a country does that to the Marines,
that's wrong.
I've got no respect whatsoever.
Well,
Amnesty. I'm sorry, I can't say it.
Let's face it. There's a difference between the people and the government. We know that. You're an
Okay.
elected official. I'm an elected official.
Right.
Okay.
So you're saying I should open my arms
No,
and say break our laws?
Well, excuse me. What? Are you an Italian?
I'm Italian.
When did your father or grandfather come to this
They
country?
came over in the boat. Okay, they landed in New York. Matter of fact, some of my family listed
so-
in the manuals down there in New York.
My grandfather
Mm-hmm.
did also. Okay. So we are
Legally.
two people.
Right.
Okay, we're 2 people.
Mm-hmm.
This is a country made up of immigrants.
right.
And you want to know something?
Legal
Oh,
immigrants,
God.
legal, that came over here, got authority, permission. We've got lists in many countries of people that want to come here that are on the list waiting for their turn. I got relatives in Italy that are waiting to come over here. Okay, one was here on a visa and everything. The visa expired. She had to go back because that was the law. They asked me to help them. I said, well, no, the law is, you have to go back. And then you get in line just like everyone else. But you have all these other people just coming in anytime they want, no respect whatsoever for our country's laws.
You're like you're making it as if they're coming into this country just for the welfare, just for to raise their kids, just to have kids and have them citizens to keep them in this country. They're leaving their countries because there's no food. They're leaving their countries because there's no medicine. They're leaving their countries, and there's a whole group coming over from another country that's saying, hey, look, we go back, they'll kill us. This is the country that people come to. Now, do people come to this country and cause trouble? Now,
Yes.
I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you a story, which I think is going to surprise you. My son goes out, he takes our truck, stops at a friend's. He hears this large crash outside the window. It's a truck, a bigger truck, backing away and driving away. He goes out. No, it was a car. Excuse me. Our car was completely totaled, and the truck drove away. You know how we caught the person? The guy lost his license plate when he smashed into us. So they find out who it is, and it's a Spanish person who is here in this country legally, but his nephew, who's not legally here, was driving the truck.
Right.
So now I'm in the position where, he doesn't have money, but he doesn't show up at court. They catch him, they throw him into jail. They call me and say, if you want your $500 deductible, why don't you come to court? So I went to court. You know what the judge said to me? He said, don't hold your breath about getting the $500. And I almost said, hey, listen, he's an illegal alien. Get rid of him. He's no damn good for us. Okay. Having said that, the people who lent or gave the truck or the kid took the truck, the police came to me and said, look, please try to be nice to this person because he's one of the nicest individuals. He's good for the community, et cetera, et cetera. So I just let it go. So when you say
How
to that,
is he good for the
why would
community?
why would that immigrant, the guy who hit the truck, why would he stay here? Why would they let him stay here?
Because Obama, your president, is telling them to don't comply with the laws. He's picking and choosing what laws to comply with. And our Attorney General, Holder, is picking and choosing what laws.
Let me see. So how many people have come into this country illegally when Obama's been here, since Obama's been here?
I don't know. I don't know.
Well,
the
there's 11 million, and I think the majority of them.
How are they getting these numbers, 11 million? How do these illegals, how do they get the numbers? How, did somebody wake up one day and pick out, are they counting them at the border and letting them go?
No.
1, 2, 3.
I believe they're doing a census.
But the census, what normal person that's here illegal will stand at the door and fill out a checklist, a census?
Because on the census, it simply states that if you're here illegally or not, okay, it's good for you to fill out the census. So I believe that's exactly what took place.
I have to think. I don't recall ever seeing that question.
Through Republicans and Democrats and Republicans and Democrats, they have been coming to this country. You can't blame one president. You can't blame a Democrat. I can't blame a Republican. The fact of the matter is that these people have come to this country. Now, what do we do?
Well,
ask them all to leave?
I can tell you, yes, it's time to let them go back to their country. Make your country a better country now, what you learned in the U.S., okay? Take the education that our taxpayers worked hard for and paid for and put it to good use in Mexico. Turn that country into a prosperous country.
Well, that's nice, but they come in here because there are no jobs.
Well, the thing is, go there now, what you learned in the U.S., and make them jobs.
You have to have jobs. And as I say, when people come to this country, they're coming because they're hungry.
But we have a lot of people, Americans, unemployed because these jobs are being taken by people.
I don't think that they're doing the engineering jobs.
Have you ever gone into them sanctuary cities? I grew up in Cambridge, Mass, sanctuary. Somerville, Mass, same thing, sanctuary. Go there at Forest Park early in the morning where we used to have a family restaurant.
Yeah.
Look at the lines of people there that are illegal aliens. They're getting paid under the table that the city turns their back on, that are out there waiting. Contractors come and pick them up.
Contractors come and pick them up.
They go and pick them up and they give them a day's pay. Now, what's a day's pay? I don't know. I never asked.
I'll tell you what. I think you and I have to agree on that. The simple, in fact, I think over in Texas they built a shelter where, because of the heat, etc. I think I would go after. It's hard to go after the immigrants. It's, I think, a lot easier, and the people who should get, who should pay the taxes on this should be the people who hire them. All right, I'm not saying that
No,
it's right.
I agree. I just think it's out of control. So meanwhile, you see 50, 100 people out there in the mornings getting jobs. The reason I know, because I used to sit across the street at Dunkin' Donuts and just watch this and see police cars roll by and nothing being done. And they're all out there getting in different cars for jobs.
But this has been going on for
it's been going on for years. But meanwhile, that uneducated person that decides not to go into the military or onto college, that they can't get these construction jobs because you've got cheap labor.
Well, that's right. First of all, you're completely right. I know people who are in the, roofing business who can't compete many times. I know people who do sheetrock. That used to be, actually it was the sheetrock, and it comes in waves. It just happened when I was growing up. The basic people who were doing a lot of the sheetrock were French.
Right.
Coming out of Canada, but they were here legally.
Do you know, many years, I grew up in Cambridge, Mass, and I used to see in homes, right, like even where I live, Italians and Portuguese used to have like 4 or 5 families in an apartment. And then little by little, they put their money together, they buy another house. Then they bought another house, then they invest in certain businesses. But they came over as immigrants legally, right? They got together, the families there, they worked and worked, paid taxes. They, like I said, they came here legally through the system, and then before you know it, they owned homes, they owned businesses. So not these gangs like
what
you know what shut down our business in Soho? These gangs from
anything like that, you grab them, they should be out. You commit a crime, you're gone.
Right, the MS-13 gangs that are in Massachusetts.
Well, they're not all Spanish.
No, I know that, but I'm just saying these different. Some of them are from other countries.
Would you agree then we need an immigration bill?
I don't.
You don't agree we need an immigration bill?
This is what I agree with. I agree with hold them accountable to the laws that we have now.
No, we're talking immigration bill. So you don't. So what you're saying? You don't want an immigration bill?
I'm saying
you want everything to be as it is.
I'm saying we already have the laws in the books. See, Democrats, just like in the House, I have to laugh. If you can't hold them accountable to a law, let's make another law. You know what I'm saying? If you can't hold them, let's make another law, because we're not holding them accountable for that law.
But it was Reagan who did the
amnesty.
Reagan started this.
And I disagreed with Reagan. I was a Democrat back then.
So you don't want an immigration bill?
No, I think we need to hold them accountable to the laws we have. Okay. Let's see if our laws will work if you enforce them.
You do. That sounds good, and I'm sure it plays well to some people out there. But guess what? When you have, we'll say 11 million people, I believe it's probably more. When you have that many people into the communities and working in the communities, you can't just uproot people. You can't for a generation. You just can't. You think you can, but you can't. So an immigration bill must somehow bring these people out of the dock, either give them a green card for 6 months, or if they've been established, have them pay everything back. I mean, this is a windfall for the United States if you could get all the people who've been here and working and not paying taxes to pay their taxes. I mean, my God, I mean, if that could happen, that would pay for schools. So we need an immigration bill.
You know, in my district, right up the street from my house, there was a immigrant family that was here and illegal. They've been here for 20-something years. The father somehow bought a house. He worked. He put his kids through school, through college, paid for. You know, the father, hard worker. They caught him. Something happened. He got picked up by immigration. Got tied up in court for 6 months. They deported him. Then they gave the mother about a month. And I got involved in this here to try to help the family to see if there was a way for this family who, once again, now they weren't paying taxes for, say, because they had no Social Security number. Okay? Yep. But they were buying, you know, and bought a home and saved money, and however they got the loan through the bank, I don't know how they bought the home, but they did. They owned the home. But the bottom line is, at the same time, Obama's uncle was being kept in the country. This family here was being kicked out, deported.
Okay, well,
they lived on High Range Road in Londonderry, New Hampshire.
Hold on, and how did you help them?
Well, I brought them to immigration to see if there was something that could be done with them. They came here illegally.
So now let me see if I've got this straight. You went to immigration because these are good people.
No, I went to immigration.
No, these are good people, I think.
Yes, they were good people.
So you went to see what you could do to help them.
To help them, because they're making this money here. They're not paying into the system.
Right.
We're educating their children. So I wanted to see, what do we need to do?
An immigration bill?
No, because they deported them.
So did you want them to be deported, or do you think if they could stay here and pay back all the taxes and everything, they would have been better?
I think at that time...
Were they good for the society?
I think, well...
Were they good for the community?
Well, no, they weren't paying taxes. We were paying for their children.
All right. Well,
you know,
yeah.
well, they were. Wait, let me change that. They were paying property taxes, probably,
Yeah,
but it could have been under somebody. Could have been under somebody else's
Property.
name
No, they're paying
that they
property
owned the
tax.
house.
Okay.
How they bought the house, I really
Well,
don't know.
you see,
I didn't get into all that. All I know is they came to me. The other people in the community came to me and said, "Listen, let's see what we can do here and help this family. Because if they're deported, we want to help them with this furniture, want to help them with their stuff, so they can get it back to where they were at."
Do you realize you've done more for yourself by telling me, which the people are watching? You're doing more for yourself as a Republican by saying you tried to help. On one hand.
But I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for something to hold them accountable to the law.
You may not like what you just said, which was very, very good.
But I mean, I tried to, make a difference because
good people.
I was pissed off at the time because Obama's uncle and aunt were able to stay here in this country, and they're on welfare and government housing, and here's a family that owned. So yeah, I was aggravated at the time. So it took me, after realizing dealing with immigration, I'm saying, how can you pick and choose who to support? Then he broke the law in paying, owns a home, but yet they're on the government toll. You're letting them stay.
I don't know why you say that.
Because I seen Obama's at the same time.
You keep saying stuff like one of his relatives just died.
Right. They never got to deport them. They were illegal.
Well, okay. We don't know what happened for this family to get deported, but
I know.
If you like it or not, we need an immigration bill to clarify it. You can't just say everyone up in like, because you said he's been paying. He owns a house, so he's been paying taxes, so he hasn't been here.
But the bottom line is, we have the laws in place. He should have been able, with an immigration lawyer, gone in when he got here under his visa and put in. Back then when he first got here. Apparently, the lawyers cost him a lot of money. There were some issues there, and many of these immigration lawyers are taking advantage of.
Immigration
bill. We need to let them use the laws that are in place.
You told me this was a good family. You said he has a house. We know he's paying. We know he's paying taxes.
Not listening to me.
He's a nice person. You made some effort to try to help him. So we need an immigration bill.
He tried to use the laws that are in place, and the people didn't follow the laws that are in place. He tried to use them to his benefit and got an immigration lawyer. All he did was spend thousands of dollars with an immigration lawyer to comply with the laws so he can put in.
So if you were a senator or a congressperson in federal, you wouldn't vote for immigration?
It depends.
Law.
I would say, okay, you need to go back to your country and then on your own and then refile, to come here.
Wouldn't you want these people, instead of going out and starting it's like a taxi cab in New York. The minute you get in, they flip the thing and it starts running. You want them to go back and start over, or wouldn't you like them to stay where they are and pay back all the money that they've got from this country? Wouldn't you want that?
I would like to take a look at that. But now, is it that what I would want?
In that particular family that you tried to help, you would like still to be here.
What I want, very simple. I want the government to hold them accountable to the laws that are in place. And if we see that they're not working, not turn our back on them. We know why they're not working, because you didn't enforce them. Enforce the laws that are in place.
I'll tell you what, I will give you the last word on that, and that's the last word
Amnesty did not work. Amnesty opened up the gates under Ronald Reagan for floods of more and more people.
Well,
Amnesty does not work.
I know, when everybody talks about the wonderful Ronald Reagan, He also closed the mental hospitals, and all the mental people were on the streets, and you can see what's happening now. So Ronald Reagan wasn't as good as you think he was.
I think he was, but that's why I left the Democrat Party and went to Reagan.
You see what he says? I segmented. As a soldier,
I was never a soldier, but go ahead.
You're a Marine.
I was a Marine. There you go.
And Marines don't leave their people there, correct?
Right, our honorable people that serve.
The
yes,
honorable.
we don't. Yes.
Oh, so this individual who in Iraq left his post. What did he think? Did he think he was going to go out and hop on a bus and go to Detroit?
Are you aware of the Uniform Code of Military Justice? They call it UCMJ. Are you aware of that?
Yes, but the
A
interesting...
deserter is a firing squad during war.
Hold on.
You could be shot.
Hold on a second. There was no law for them to stay on the... They could leave the base if they wanted to.
No, that's not true.
Yes.
That's not true.
In fact, when he left the base, well, that's different. Iraq is a lot different.
You cannot leave a base without checking out of your unit.
When he left the base, he didn't take any guns or anything.
Right. He left, listening to the people that he served, his platoon sergeant or his squad leader, he deserted his post.
Well, you know something? You could be right on it. I'm not going to argue that. And in fact, I think when people start death threats against his family, he still is a soldier, and you should, he's still a brother, and you may not like him, but he did, probably did fight some wars. But what we do know is that I believe he went in either the Merchant Marines or some other organization.
I never heard anything about that.
And he was there for 26 days. 26 days, and they got him out because he wasn't mentally stable.
Yeah, I never heard about that. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know. Regardless what he was in prior, this or that or whatever, that's not the issue. The issue was you're an American, you joined the military, you're over there. If you have issues, then you need to go see medical. Not leave your weapon where other people can get killed.
When a person deserts, are you under the impression that he went to become one of the enemy?
I don't want to believe that, and that's why I'm waiting patiently for the Army.
What's interesting, one thing we do know is when he left the base, he was captured by a group that took him and sold him to Al Qaeda. Does that sound like a person who?
Why would you?
From the frying pan into the fire?
I've been in many countries. I served. I've been over in Saudi. I've been in Iraq. I've been in desert, in Kuwait. Why would you, an American, leave a unit in those countries not knowing there's no embassy there, there's nowhere to go so I can get out of the country? Why would you do that unless you're going looking for the enemy? Why would you do that? Or you're looking for suicide to get shot.
All right.
Why would you do that? Unless you're not mentally stable.
Yes, I think we can agree on the man was not mentally stable.
I believe that he's not.
So if he just threw his gun down and walked off as a Marine and a soldier, then you got to sympathize a little with this guy.
Did you sympathize with the emotions? You want to hug and kiss all of them during Vietnam that went to Canada? Did you feel bad for them? They didn't want to get.
That was my war.
Yeah,
so,
but did you feel bad for all of them that they went and then the other people went and fought the war? Well, they ran and took off. Did you feel bad then? Who'd you support? Who'd you feel bad for?
Well, Iraq wasn't a war we should have got into, and that was done by
Vietnam wasn't a war we should have gotten into either.
And that's correct.
And that was done by a Democrat.
Yes.
And then Republican got us out of there.
Yes, and then Democrat. No,
actually. Was it Nixon? Was it?
Yeah, Nixon did a lot.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put him up next to Lincoln.
I think I was when it started. I was born in '56.
Maybe we should use that.
Yeah. I was a baby.
Okay, let us talk about this kid who something's wrong with him because he's in a military hospital. Where was it? In Germany.
Germany, right? Now he's in Texas.
And they said he didn't even call his parents. Look, we know he left his base. We know that. Okay. We do know that he was captured. We do know that he was sold to Al Qaeda. All right.
We don't know for sure he was sold.
Well,
We don't know for
well,
sure.
that's
hearsay.
not uncommon
Right,
for
that's
them, for
hearsay.
people to grab them and then
Right.
sell them because Al Qaeda, all right, can use them. Which
But
Al
it actually
Qaeda,
wasn't even Al Qaeda. It was Taliban that turned him in.
okay,
Taliban
sold them to Al Qaeda. Taliban
No,
to
the
Al Qaeda.
Taliban had him.
Okay.
At least from what I read. And I even put out on my Facebook that I will wait for the the report to come in. I'll trust what the Army says, because I know the Army's not going to give the American people a BS, because the
No.
commanding generals are going to get caught in lies.
No.
Because the platoon sergeants, the people that are in the trenches, know the real
no,
truth.
they won't.
And they're speaking out.
But if he is mentally ill, he still is one of your brothers. He was a soldier. If he was mentally ill and threw his gun down and walked off and didn't really care or didn't know where he was going and was mentally ill, do you sympathize now with him? Do you think he should be court-martialed?
Yes, I think he should be medical attention and not be released. He should be held. I think he should be held and put in just like we do with others.
Why was it when the Secretary of War went in before the a committee and they started asking him, one of the I know, and this drives me nuts, it'll drive you nuts too. One of the senators go, well, since when have you known them to keep a soldier, over in one place as long as they've kept him?
That's right, and not cut his head off or anything.
You want to know something? No, I don't mean that. I mean after he got out, he was in the hospital. You want to know why?
Something's up.
Yeah, you want to know why? You know how many soldiers are committing suicide? You're an individual. You're a Marine. You know this. So if this guy's not stable, all right, so I think that's probably why he was.
Of course, the numbers have dropped down on the suicides, and you want to know what more suicides are? A lot of people have never even served in the war. Did you know that?
No, what do you mean?
Meaning the suicides are not all combat veterans. What I'm trying to say is that they're veterans, yeah, but a lot of them.
But they were soldiers.
But soldiers, different branches.
All right,
Remember
okay.
now, you have, I know some of you understand and not understand, like me, the military. A soldier is somebody that served in the Army. A Navy side is totally different, not considered a soldier. A Marine is not considered a soldier. Do you see what I'm saying? So I understand where you're going.
No,
with
I
am a 22 years that served in the U.S. Marines.
Yes.
And in my days, I've had a couple of suicide Marines there. Never served in wars. Many of the cases that I've seen in my days are from family issues, marriage, other issues there, not because of war.
But now the military, I believe now the military is when they're looking at a soldier, they also look at the families too. They haven't been doing that. And guess what? That's both Republicans and Democrats, and shame on them.
Oh, without a doubt. And we've taken
them.
people from all walks of life, from different societies into the military. And the Marine Corps, we're fortunate because we weed out a lot. You might go down 200 people in a platoon, you might graduate 80.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a big difference, in the Marine Corps in the way we try to, weed out and tighten and make sure that you're mentally can handle, because you're trained in the Marine to fight wars. You know what I mean? You're not trained to, kumbaya or holding hands and sing,
run a ship.
That's right.
You're
trained to fight wars, and you have to be mentally focused.
Yeah, and people who help the jets get off the carriers, that's still in war.
Right. My son, as a matter of fact, avionics, electronics mechanic. My son, he's a recruiter now in Lowell. But he's a Marine recruiter. He just left the HMX-1. He was working for the president's helicopters under Bush and Obama.
And you went to
the
White House and met the president.
But if you take a look at the military today, they're trained to fight wars. They're not trained. If you go UA in the military, you're a deserter. Uniform Code of Military Justice during the war, you could be shot.
Yes.
Okay.
I believe, did we shoot?
Yeah, we did. I can't think of the Marine's name there in Vietnam.
Selvig,
might have been World War II.
Civic, I think.
I can't remember the name. But we did. Yeah, we shot firing squad.
Yeah.
Because during a time of war, it's just a no-no.
And also, let's face it, there's something called fragging. Yeah. You know what fragging is? Fragging is, I had friends who were in Vietnam, and they were there like for 2 tours, and in would come it would have a lieutenant or somebody higher, and they knew that they could not raise a rank unless they went to war. So here's these crazy people with the beards, been out in the woods, etc. and they're saying, no, we're not walking down the road. We're going to move over 50 steps, and we're going to walk through the woods. And a lieutenant would say, no, we're walking down the middle of the road. And they're going, look,
Right.
we've been here.
That's
you
right.
haven't.
You haven't. Right.
So what they would do is they would
Sometimes they get killed.
roll a grenade in where he was sleeping. That was called fragging.
You know, you hear about the stories, but you never hear the real true facts, so you don't know really. And the reason why I say that, because if somebody talked about it, and that's what, in fact, what they did, they'd be court-martialed. Because the bottom line is that's murder. So you don't know, and even myself for 22 years, you don't know what's true and what's not.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, and I never hear the person.
You would not, especially Vietnam, walk down the middle of the road.
Yeah, right.
You know, I mean.
Well, Marines, you know, of course, you're trained to, you know, the scatter. You're not trained to be online and on the road there, and you know, because
isn't this interesting? Because good. I think this is going along very good because we can now segment into Iraq is falling apart. Iraq, the government is falling. The government is corrupt.
We called this a few years ago. We knew it was just a matter of time, because the president made one of the biggest mistakes of any president.
It was
when you
George
pulled them
W.
out,
Bush.
No, wait.
Oh, no.
There was supposed to have been a
George
deal.
W.
Here we go with George Bush
George
again.
W. Bush
Here
who
we go.
said, this is when we're going to be out, and the president stayed right along those tracks.
No, wait a minute, hold it. But the thing was, George W. Bush said that we would be out 100%. He would leave in a contingency in there because we have an embassy in there. Bush would never, ever leave his embassy unprotected and a contingency of security in there. Obama pulled everyone out, and all you have is the embassy.
No, that's not true.
I have to disagree with you.
That's not true. That's not true.
Look up the facts. I mean, I didn't serve 22 years because I just thought this up in my brain. Look up the facts.
No, but you're a Republican.
Okay, yes. But
and you're running again for...
You'll be surprised. You can't blame Bush no more. One of the biggest mistakes he did.
You know,
look at Korea.
Excuse me.
Look at Japan.
Yeah.
Look at Germany. We're still there.
Hold on a second now. Yeah, you can turn around and point to Bush and say, that should have never taken place, period. People can turn around and say, and there's Republicans and Democrats on both sides, who said, we'll go to Vietnam. That should have never happened.
But the bottom line is it did.
Now,
but it did happen.
The question is, what do we do in Iraq?
John McCain, I'm going to tell you right now, I think it's suicide to go back in there, and where I think, I hope that get the military to stand up and fight this war, Iraqis, instead of running. You know, I mean, we can't put boots on the ground no more. It's already, the damage is already done. So we're going to go and lose more people.
So you
over
agree?
there.
Don't go no more.
I believe we have to watch Iraq, because if these terrorists are the way they're saying they are, that they're worse than Al Qaeda, we need to be doing drones. We need to be taking them out from the sky. And we need to get the Democrats stop feeling bad for casualties, and just let's go take them out once and for all.
You know, if I remember correctly, one of the reasons why we can't, or they wanted us out of Afghanistan, was because there were casualties. There were mistakes that were made.
Well, rules of engagement.
And that came under Obama.
Do you know under President Obama, we have more debts under him? You want to know why?
Debts?
We have more, more veterans coming back, dead or wounded. Yes. Under President Obama. Look at the numbers here over the last 5 years.
No, I don't think so. There were 4,000 something killed in Iraq.
Look at the numbers in the last 5-6 years that are coming home. Look at the numbers on all these debts that have been happening. Now,
you're wrong about
engagement.
What you're saying.
Am I wrong?
Within 4 years, there's been more people killed.
How long has Obama been president?
There's been more people killed in Iraq since he's been there.
How long has Obama been the president?
Well, he's going on
7 years. 6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe 6 years.
Going into 7. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, he's actually almost 7 years he's going into. Now, you can't keep blaming Bush.
Should we
the
have...
rules of engagement get changed.
Hold on a second. Wait a minute.
You have to read them their rights.
Wait a minute. No, first of all, if you want to get rid of weeds, you don't cut them, you pull them out at the roots. But you've got to go and you've got to say, why did that war take place? Okay?
It's too late in the game.
Republican.
It's too late in the game to say why. It's no longer Bush's war.
Well,
it's Obama's war.
no.
Bush has been gone for 6 years. Get over it. Take responsibility.
You know, you guys will do anything.
Bush is gone.
Listen, you want to know something? As far as I'm concerned, Bush isn't bad to me because he's now an artist.
Yeah, but Bush, I understand.
He is
right,
an
he's an artist now, so he's a good man.
No,
but what I'm trying to tell you is Bush is long gone. It's now Obama's war. Strategy, planning, everything. Decision making is all Obama.
So is this?
Rules of engagement is Obama.
Okay, so this is how the Republicans are going to come back at this?
No, this is the damn facts.
The Republicans are saying, let's go back into Iraq.
Well, no, you have McCain. I just listened to McCain today on TV saying that we need it with drones or with aircraft. He's not talking about boots back in the ground. He's saying that what he did, he told Obama 3 years ago, don't pull 100% out. And he didn't listen.
But
he didn't listen to Petraeus and anyone. Obama refused to listen to the military commanders.
I love you guys. The problem is, I know you don't want to hear Bush again, but it was Bush who set up the time to get out. What you're saying,
Not
saying
100%.
now, okay, no, well,
you never ever pull out 100%.
Well, it wasn't going to be 100%. It wasn't going to be 100% in Iraq. And it wasn't going to be 100% in Iraq. But it was Bush who set out the timetable to get out. So what you're saying now, or else if I've got this straight, what you're saying is, he should have kept more people over there.
A contingency should have stayed in place.
Well, there is a contingency.
No, they're in Kuwait.
Over there.
We do have in Kuwait.
So what you're saying
but
is,
I don't know what the numbers
we should have kept more people there.
Yes, I'm saying
and more people would have got killed.
Yeah. No.
Is it our war over there?
Training and everything else.
Is it our war over there?
Well, you want to know something? It is our war, and I'll tell you why it's our war. I've been to these countries.
I know why it's our war. Because Bush started.
No, these people want to kill us, whether you like it or not, whether you will accept it or not. These radical Muslims want to kill Americans, Christians. We need to face the fact this is a religious war that will never, ever go away. And we have to stand up, and America has to get it in their mind to protect themselves.
So what you're saying is we should go kill Muslims?
No, did I ever say that? That's a Democrat mentality.
You didn't, and that
you
was
try to turn our words around.
Well, the fact is they happen to be Muslim.
What I'm saying is we need to wake up and smell the coffee and be prepared. These people, we have sleeper cells that try to sneak in or that are probably already here in our country, that we have to be prepared 24 hours a day. These people want to kill us.
That's what we've been doing.
Well, no. Then if we are, then things are slipping.
Excuse me. I believe that's what we have been doing.
Right. Nobody's saying we're not.
Wait a minute. Since Obama has been there, how many attacks have there been?
Well, we had the one in Boston. We had it in Boston, a terrorist attack.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
I can't deny that.
Now, under Bush, under 8 years, we had what? 9/11. That was it.
9/11, that was it.
No, but what I'm saying is that's what opened our eyes.
Hold on, excuse me. 9/11, in that short period of time,
he was the president, for 4 months?
As many people as were lost in the bombing of Pearl Harbor.
When 9/11 happened, September, how long? Bush was what, the president for 5, 6 months?
I believe Bush had the information, but the information didn't get to him.
You believe, but you know for sure.
Yeah, I believe that.
You believe. It's all hearsay, all this, what site did you pull that off of?
Well, excuse me, how does someone like Osama bin Laden not get brought up on the radar? How would he not? Is that a Republican thing that you don't? Well, Connie Rice was an individual who should have pulled that up. There are people who came forth who said they had mentioned that there's a possibility
because he was on our payroll.
But you want to know something?
Bin Laden was on our payroll many years ago.
I don't believe he was, but let me give you. Didn't
we supply him with arms when he was fighting over in Afghanistan, the Russians and everything else?
Well, we gave arms, but it wasn't to.
I forgot. You're an artist. You're not a history major of war. I forgot. What am I talking? You probably don't remember that.
What's he talking to me for?
Do you remember Ollie North and the Contras and all that other stuff? You remember all that?
Ollie North, ladies and gentlemen.
Confirm nor deny.
Ollie North downstairs was selling guns to the enemy that was killing us to get money to help another government to be overthrown.
They weren't killing
and
us.
And Ollie North.
They weren't killing us. They were
Don't
killing
bring
others.
Ollie North up.
It was too.
Ollie North should have been fried.
But what I'm trying to tell you here, this stuff has been going on for years and years. Because there's groups that they're financing.
Would you agree that it has taken place under both Republicans and Democrats?
There's no doubt. I've said that before.
So we agree on that.
Right.
So what do we do in Iraq?
Well, I already told you what we do in Iraq. We start blowing, these people up there when they're going in. But the only thing, the problem we have in Iraq, because it's tough to go with drones building the building, okay? And unless you have intel on the ground, it's tough to identify who's who, too.
Yeah, I know.
Because they're all dressed the same.
We went through that.
So you don't know who's who. It's tough.
Yeah.
He should. I mean, the damage is already done. It's a shame. I think we need to do is tell Iraqi people, the military, stand up and fight. I think we need to get our intel.
I believe that the great problem over there is there is one religion and it's divided into two religions, and basically they're fighting. And now, when this government took over, they didn't bring the opposite part of their religion in, Sunni, I believe. So what this meant is they went out and they started saying, well, wait a minute, if you're not going to bring us into the government, I mean, we're part of the government, we're part of the people, we may not be the majority, we may be the minority.
Now,
Having said that,
we've discussed now for I don't know how long now, maybe 40 minutes. How long we've been discussing?
a long time.
You and I are state representatives. Did you not forget that? New Hampshire state representative.
That's right.
We're not Congress. We're not the president. Regardless, us talking here, what could, should, might, maybe,
well, first of all, you're a military person to ask some questions like this.
But it does us no good. You and I need to focus on New Hampshire, like what you guys done the last couple of years. The gas tax, the oil tax, the cigarette tax. Shutting down freedom of speech around abortion clinics. These are things we need to be discussing.
No, wait a minute. 25 feet. No, come on.
20 feet. Do you do that around doctors? Do you do that around schools? Do you do that around dentists? Do you do that at funerals? Where were you on the funeral bill? When I was fighting there to get the zoning there for veterans, and we changed it to make the Democrats happy to vote for it, to make it for everybody.
Do you know why
the protesters.
I have kept this, really federal instead of local?
Why?
I'm going to tell you why.
Are you running for Congress?
No, I'm going to tell you why.
I thought there was a secret there.
No,
okay.
I'm going to tell you why.
What's that?
Because the reason why Bill O'Brien and you guys took over by a supermajority, 297 to 103, I was one of the 103, is because you never talked about New Hampshire. You complained about Pelosi, you complained about Reid. That's all you guys did. And that's how you won. And the great problem what took place is when those state representatives came in is some of them tried to pass federal laws because they were that crazy.
See, I didn't see that. I missed that boat there. I mean, I am confused.
I will bet you the majority
I would ask any of your Democrats that are watching this here to do a Google search on Al Baldasau and look on my websites and see if there's anywhere that I went after Democrats and mentioned Pelosi or any of the others on there during my campaign speeches.
You've already mentioned her many times before.
Here on TV only once. I mean, because we're on TV once or twice.
But everywhere,
running for state rep.
Well,
I don't need. Why would I need Pelosi when I got all this, like all the spending that you guys did, 17% raise in spending, and we had to take over, and then we had to cut spending because you had a $900 million deficit.
You know something. Why people don't believe you?
Wow.
The reason why they don't believe you, and it's really simple, is because you were the majority. You were the guys who screwed things up. 2 years ago. You guys were voted from a supermajority to a majority.
Okay.
They threw you right out.
Let me ask you something.
All you're saying now is not factual.
Because Obama beat us fair and square. We've had 100,000 same-day registries. And you just seen the case there? You just see the case, the guy from Massachusetts just got for voting in New Hampshire and voting in Massachusetts. We have Republicans and some Democrats, my understanding, the same thing. I hope we prosecute them all.
I have a question to ask you. If I put a bill in to have voting on Tuesdays, but also have voting on one Saturday. Would you go along with that?
I would support a Saturday.
You would support a Saturday?
Yeah, as long as we can change the what identifies domicile law and make sure that they're just New Hampshire residents that vote, not Massachusetts.
Hold on a second. Hold on. You were talking earlier about connecting bills upon bills, and that's the reason why the college kids who have bills cannot refinance because the Republicans didn't go along with it.
See,
so
there's more to meet the eye on that. I
but
don't
you
know the whole
said
truth.
something was connected. Now, y'all want to connect. You would not vote for a Saturday, also a Saturday
Did you hear me say
and
I
a
wouldn't?
Tuesday. Well, you said if they change the domicile.
Domicile, that's right.
So
Because
you wouldn't vote for it.
No, wait. Let me tell you. Because right now we have college students here in New Hampshire, and all our colleges that are here paying non-tuition what do they call it? Out-of-state tuition. They're not residents in New Hampshire, but yet we allow them to vote here in New Hampshire. So what happens in towns like Plymouth, Durham, Keene? They're voting on elections up in those areas. Nashua, wherever we have colleges.
Excuse me.
Manchester.
Are you saying that New Hampshire is completely all Democrat?
No, what I'm saying, many college students are, yes.
Oh, I see. Why?
College
Because
students.
they're educated.
Because they're educated by a lot of liberals that are in the colleges.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I said liberals that are educating our children, and I'll say it again.
All right. Well, we believe it or not.
But when they start earning money and they start paying taxes and realize the Democrats keep their hands in their pockets, that's when they see the light.
And that's the reason why we voted you guys out, because you screwed things up so badly.
2014, the Republicans will be taking back the majority, because if you look at the last budget, Democrats for 4 years with 17%, $900 million deficit. The Republicans took over for 2 years. Now I'm speaking 70, was it $2 or $77 million surplus?
And by the way, the way they balanced the budget was the system of getting taxes from hospitals, repaying the taxes to the hospitals, and keeping the money left over. It was your great Republican called O'Brien who did that to make the budget. They took him to court twice and found out it was illegal, so we might have to pay back $400 million.
No,
you guys did a great job.
$180 million.
But
$180 million.
$180 million.
But there may be a deal, but I think the Nashua Hospital is holding up there.
There may be a deal.
There may be a deal on that, but see, the thing is...
So the thing is what?
The Republicans want this to go to the Supreme Court. We don't want a deal cut. And the reason why we don't want a deal cut, because...
But how are you going to pay? How are we going to pay?
First of all, we don't know. What we did under Republicans and Democrats since 1990 or 91, listen to me now, Republicans and Democrats since 1991, okay, what they did was they complied with a federal law authorizing them to put this tax in.
All right, how can they get in touch with you?
Get in touch with me at albaldessaro.com. Or you can call me at my house, 425-6997.
Right.
I'm on Facebook. Do a Google search.
Give that number again, telephone number again.
603-425-6997.
Okay, and you are running again.
I am running again for my 5th term.
Okay, and I'm running for my 4th term, and my name is Ken Gidge. You can go to Gidge World, which is an art website, or 603-864-9332. I'm also on Facebook. I'm also on Twitter. I mean, I'm like everywhere. Al, again, thank you very much.
preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.